The date at the Gold Saucer in Chapter 12 is always showcased and talked about for obvious reasons. It was amazing, and of course I'll talk about it as well later in the video. However, the date in Chapter 8 had its own unique charm, so the entire date would be the top moment of this chapter. What's up? It's your boy MLWJRPG coming at you with a video that I promise you'll enjoy. We are going to go through every chapter of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and I'm going to highlight one top clerith moment from each chapter. For each moment, I'll give a brief analysis about it and why it's a top moment. I have to say though, for some chapters, this was an elephant of a task, and I can assure you it was not easy. It's very likely you already know which chapters I'm referring to, but alas, I chose the moments showcased, so we'll probably have some different ideas, and that's totally cool. Make sure you drop in the comments below what you thought and what are some of the top moments for you. Okay, let's get this party started. Chapter 1 is very interesting right from the get-go when considering highlighting top clerith moments, because although Aerith isn't present in this moment, she is very much involved here. During the Nibelheim flashback sequence, when Cloud visits his mom, Claudia, she describes the perfect woman for Cloud, and the description perfectly fits Aerith.
An older, more mature girl that could keep you on the straight and narrow and tell you when you're being a silly goose. That's the perfect type for you, I'd say.
Which of course, this is intended from a narrative standpoint to describe Aerith. The perfect girl for him is a bit of an older sister type that can pull and lead him. Claudia points this out during this scene, and Aerith is described in several canon character profiles this way as well. Chapter 2, we had the clock tower date between Cloud and Aerith, which, by the way, a reminder that this date is indeed canon and has to happen for the story to progress. The clock tower date was a short and sweet moment. We got to see more of how well these two communicate. Aerith opened up more to Cloud here, and she told him not to take a friend for granted, referring to Tifa here.
I would have given anything to have a friend when I was growing up. Don't take her for granted.
Considering Aerith's childhood and upbringing, she never had a friend from her childhood or any long-term friendship. She would have given anything to have a friend growing up. Right at the start of Chapter 3, we have a hilarious clerith moment. Aerith teasing Cloud about the hand massage back at Walmart with Madam M was chef's kiss.
For 2,000.
Enough for her standard course twice, right?
Her what now?
Ask him.
Cloud?
Forget it. You guys need to focus.
Cloud wasn't expecting that at all. My dude was speechless here. I believe that Hannah sums up this moment so well here.
Enough for her standard course twice, right?
Her what now?
Ask him.
Cloud?
Aerith Gainsborough, you are a menace to society, and society is Cloud Strife.
And then not to mention this nice little bonus section right here.
Probably refined with materia too.
Look at you, Mr. Shinra expert.
At the Junon Inn in Chapter 4, we see classic 24/7 on the clock bodyguard Cloud on display. As Cloud is approaching Aerith's room, he hears her talking to someone else that he isn't quite familiar with yet, but later of course he will be. He couldn't help himself but listen in. The funny part is Cloud got caught eavesdropping because he got worried and he gasped loudly.
Speaking of, you seen them lately? Cloud.
Want me to go easy?
Want me to go easy?
Alright. Your funeral though.
Oh, there'll be a funeral, all right. I'm gonna bury you.
Oh yes, the banter right before their Queen's Blood match in Chapter 5 was a delight. Want me to go easy? And then Cloud's chuckling right after that. All of that was great. I loved it. And during the match too, it's pretty funny too as well. You know, the little back and forth, the commentary, and what Aerith and Cloud is saying. And it's pretty funny because you have Cloud say, "You're mine," a couple of times throughout too as well. It's like, Alright, Cloud, we get it. We get it.
They're just thoughts. Let them be dark and ugly. You're not.
You think so?
What I'm trying to say is, worry about the future when it comes. You'll know what to do. And whatever you decide, I'm with you.
Oh, the conversation on the beach. The setting, the mood, the music, everything here was perfect. Cloud was a real one, stepping up and reassuring Aerith that she has his full support no matter what happens in the future. They will take it on together. Technically, this can be done any chapter past chapter 7 up to chapter 13, but I'm pretty sure most clerics jumped on this side quest as soon as possible, so it's the top cleric moment for chapter 7, and it pays off so fast with a callback to the rooftops date from Remake right at the start of the side quest.
This is one of the stranger jobs you've accepted.
Still a job. I'll take the lead.
Hey, I can help. I'll make this date our best yet.
We could just keep it simple.
And what's a simple date in your world?
Like a walk?
Across rooftops, perhaps?
Sure.
Ah, memories.
Their date in Costa del Sol was full of great moments and had plenty of classic Cloud and Aerith banter going on back and forth the entire time. And of course, Aerith was constantly keeping Cloud on his toes with her jokes and teasing.
But you don't strike me as the type to care all that much.
I don't. Food's food.
Uh-oh. Don't you know what happens to people who say they don't care what their food tastes like? They spontaneously combust.
You're screwing with me, right?
I guess we'll see, won't we?
And then at the end of the side quest, Cloud was down for taking a solo chocobo ride with Aerith.
Next time we need a chocobo, I say we ride double.
And slow down the bird?
Which would make it that much easier to take in all the scenery.
I'm still steering.
Oh, fine. If you've got to be the man up front.
And now we arrive at chapter 8, where we get a series of amazing moments here. The date at the Gold Saucer in chapter 12 is always showcased and talked about for obvious reasons. It was amazing. And of course, I'll talk about it as well later in the video. However, the date in chapter 8 had its own unique charm, so the entire date would be the top moment of this chapter.
This is some kind of race today, folks. In all my years in the booth, only seen a couple this close. So, Cloud, which bird do you think is gonna take home the win?
Well, Aerith, considering their plumage and breeding, I think the choice is clear.
I spy something a certain all-action mercenary might like. Wanna try?
But it's for kids.
That's what all the old fogies say.
Whatever. Let's see how it stacks up against the real thing.
You wanna be a space ranger too?
Prefer to keep my feet on the ground.
A super underrated scene during the chapter 8 date is this scene at the event square when they spot Jesse's framed photograph. Cloud, he can't exactly read women's feelings well, and he struggles with this. He always thought Jesse's flirting was just her being friendly and teasing him without even considering any genuine romantic interest. This scene shows, by extension, that Cloud also doesn't know if Aerith's flirting and teasing and their dates have romantic implications. But Aerith takes the opportunity here to imply that not only was Jesse's flirting to be real, but Aerith's is real too.
She was a good friend. Not that I deserved one.
Just a friend? Or a girlfriend? You can be pretty dense when it comes to that kind of stuff.
She gave as good as she got. Never cut me any slack. And yeah, just a friend.
Sure was that black and white?
I don't follow.
You, young man, still have a lot to learn, right?
I know I went on a bit long on chapter 8, but I feel it sometimes gets overlooked by the chapter 12 date and for upcoming scenes in the latter chapters, which I totally get that, but chapter 8 really does have some incredible moments. Jealous Cloud in Gungaga will forever be memorable. What is not talked about enough here is how long it took Cloud to respond with, yeah.
You remember me telling you about Zach, right? At the playground? How he was my first love?
Yeah.
It felt as if it had taken him an entire minute to say it. He was not interested in hearing about Zach at all. Now, I don't need to spend too much time on this sequence as it's a very popular moment, so of course it's the top clerith moment for chapter 9. And I have talked about this scene several times in many of my videos I have uploaded now, but I do plan to do a detailed breakdown of this scene at some point. But until then, Slasterpiece Gaming has thoroughly covered this scene in spades. Please go check out her analysis of this scene if you haven't already. And now we have reached chapter 10, and this is the chapter where I do believe many of you would probably choose a different top clerith moment. That moment is the photo side quest, which I do believe is the best side quest in the game and is a clerith feast, so I have no problems yielding that. But for me, the nighttime scene at the torch at Cosmo Canyon is one of my favorite scenes in the game. There are several reasons why Aerith resonates with me, and I dub her the best Final Fantasy woman, but this scene drove home why I love Aerith and showed how these two are each other's rock. How can someone have so much love for life and the people in it after what she has been through? She's not bitter, doesn't blame anyone, carries on, and only sees the good in life. Even better is how vulnerable she gets in this scene. As strong as Aerith is, she almost broke here, but who did she look for in the audience? She looked at Cloud for support, and he delivered the softest and most comforting voice.
It's okay.
And the way Aerith smiled back at him, you could feel the burden she had at that moment completely lift. She felt instant relief. Beautiful scene. It's so emotional every single time. You knew this one was coming for chapter 11, the entire water tower sequence. If you haven't already, make sure you check out the video where I did a detailed breakdown of this moment. During this part of the sequence, Aerith is feeling a mix of emotions, but is still able to clearly communicate her feelings to Cloud. And Cloud in return was willing to allow her to vent these feelings if she needed to do so. And he grew to realize that sometimes giving Aerith space is the best move to make. They are able to establish boundaries in their relationship, a huge development of deeper trust in their relationship and understanding of each other's feelings. The entire date during chapter 12 is peak clerith. From the start of the date,
You know, there's a showing of Loveless about to start. And I've got 2 tickets to it. We should go. Plus, you and I have unfinished business.
Wait, what?
The Skywheel, silly. Remember, we didn't get to ride it before.
Loveless, and our lovely Canon Rosa.
Please be safe.
Rest assured, I shall return. You needn't promise that you'll wait, for I know that I will find you here.
The no promises to keep performance. And then finally reaching the gondola. Wow. The scenes did all the talking for me. There was no other choice for chapter 12.
The orb. Aerith.
Whatever happens, I'm here for you.
Thank you. Aerith!
I love the person that's under some sort of control snapping out of it after being reminded of the person they love trope. It's so wildly specific and it's beautiful. This scene put on full display shows how important Aerith is to Cloud and what her presence can do for him. Cloud could escape Sephiroth's clutches because he remembered that fateful encounter the first time that they met. This scene is a powerful clerith moment.
There you are. Sephiroth!
Let's end this. Together.
I must admit, I underestimated you.
Adrenaline, peak, iconic. This clerith moment in chapter 14 was such an emotional high. A storm of emotions from the start of this chapter with the entire dream date, the church scene, and leading up to this point. My heart was racing and pounding once I saw Aerith walking into the battle. She looked at Cloud and said, "Let's end this together," and Cloud nodded right after. Oh my god, it was peak. And when Sephiroth turned to look at Aerith and say, "I must admit, I underestimated you," that was it there. I remember screaming, "Let's go, let's go." This scene, oh, I loved it so much. But honestly, for chapter 14, I literally could have posted footage from the start of the chapter to the end of the chapter because it was clerith moment after moment during this roller coaster ride of a chapter. I'm sure you had a different moment for this chapter, so go ahead and give me your thoughts on it below in the comments. I'm very interested in your moment for this chapter. Wow. It's crazy when you realize the sheer number of incredible moments between Cloud and Aerith throughout Rebirth. There are plenty that I didn't even mention in this video, as the goal was to highlight one from each chapter. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this ride.